Time marches on, and the age of a new king draws nearer.
The announcement is soon.
Welcome back to Metaphor ReFantazio. Now, normally this would be the day of the deadline to finish the Grand Cathedral, but we've already handled that. So, now I want to try and take on my one remaining task before we get things done here, and that would be that request that the army has. Just one last way to kill time, as we shouldn't be able to rank up anybody else today. Oh, wait, before I need to remember to actually buy the informant info. Like, I might know what this boss is weak to, but, we're nowhere in universe yet. The Lord of Tradia Desert. Here we go.
Want in on this?
And we're still above 30,000. There's so many people have been attacked while traveling through it. Yeah, by those Google bandits that are in there. Swarms of Valmo, those are the sandworms, and giant monstrous birds. The threats are too numerous to name, but the worst is the man-eater Manjula. Yeah, its breath burns like fire. That means Seeker's a bad idea. It also spreads a foul poison. Fire magic's ineffective against it. The blaze only invigorates it. And yes, ice magic is effective. And that's about all you know. So, I could go double mage to use the second tier ice spell on it. Now, there's a certain gate guard that you want to talk to near Tradia Desert in order to get a memorandum entry. I don't think it's you, though. Wait, oh, no, it actually is. It is! Okay, yeah. So, this entry, weirdly enough, is missable. And I just barely got there in time. You need to speak to this guard after defeating Zorba, but before the 23rd. A stretch of desert that surrounds the royal capital Grand Trad and extends further southeast. Though 2 to 3 decades ago, the sandy plain was far less barren, the recent rapid desertification of the environment has taken its toll. One theory suggests that the Grand Cathedral blocks the winds from Montario, which previously carried the sands to the river, and the resulting build-up contributed to the land's desertification. Since the rapid change in the environment, giant sand-dwelling creatures have been sighted on and about the main road, never before seen near Grand Trad, sharply raising public concerns about the apparent deterioration of public safety. Yeah, whoever built that cathedral didn't think things through. I suppose it would have taken a very skilled meteorologist to realize that there were necessary winds to the environment blowing directly in that direction, but it's also just speculation that that caused the desertification. But anyway, granted, it's kind of interesting because the cathedral seems to have been a fairly recent thing, because Sanctism became the state religion actually might have been like 30 to 50 or so years ago. I actually forget the exact timeline. But even then, you wouldn't think desertification would happen that quickly. But, I mean, this is a magical fantasy world, after all. So, yeah, the entrance here, we can go to Moor, we can talk to Hulkenberg and Stroll, and this is our dungeon entrance, so let's prepare and save. So here there are a few ice weaknesses and a few pierce weaknesses. No brawler weaknesses, unfortunately. Do I have any incense? I do have some incenses, only one, though. I wouldn't mind Brawler being a little higher, and then +1 magic. Let's, unfortunately Hulkenberg kind of needs that. Max MP by 2? Given that also applies to physical attacks, I'll give that to Will. As I do eventually need Mage on Hulkenberg, I think I'll keep it with Mage, and I'll make you two my knights.
By the chivalrous spirit of the knight.
Or, you know, I could try out the Golden Epee on Stroll. Here's why more rank 2 is so convenient, because it lets you swap out inherited skills anywhere you want. So, for example, I can take Blizz there, and do you have anything else inheritable? Nothing stopped me from getting Skullcracker on Seeker. I've got the Mag to spare. Still only 1 inheritance slot on Knight. However, yeah, I do have access to Medi. Although maybe I should actually just give you Blizz. Because Ice and Pierce will serve you against most enemies here. So, yeah, this is where our fantasy died for the first time. Well, the first time on purpose. So now we're going to finally get our revenge against the enemies here. We also have roaming packs of free MP, I mean hundos.
Yes.
Yeah, this thing is more like a manticore than wild dogs. There it is. But I feel like we've been fighting the hundos a lot lately. But I haven't actually talked about the lore around dire wolves in fantasy, and that might be a good subject for this video. We'll have plenty of time to talk about sandworms and manticores later.
Yes.
Some bounty targets require a certain number of enemies to be killed before you fight the main target. Yeah, I believe this one immediately attacks you after you've killed the required number of enemies, so you'll need to make sure that you're not too low on health and MP when that happens. And I was actually very surprised to find something. Direwolves are real. They aren't just a fantasy creature. Oh wow, that's really weak. Way weaker than I expected. Yet somehow Hulkenberg still leveled out of that. They are an extinct... Oh, by the way, yeah, the gold beetle's here. It's the only gold beetle in this area. Make sure you get it now, because there's very little reason to come back to the Tradia Desert after you've done this one quest. It's kind of sad for basically where we started our adventure. But yeah, so direwolves were a real extinct species of wolves. They were larger than regular varieties of wolves, and that's potentially why they're so enduring in fantasy media. Just the idea of a really big, really scary version of an already dangerous predatory creature. It's probably just as simple as that. They all went extinct during a certain extinction event, and I believe that's actually weaker than the Dragon's Indignation. If you didn't get the Dragon's Indignation, though... Yeah, it's automatically equipping Dragon's Judgment, yeah. If you didn't get that, though, that is your best option for a warrior weapon at this point. And there are two theories as to why the direwolf, which inherited America mostly, went extinct. And they are either climate change or overhunting of megafauna by humans. And either of them have viability. There's been various different discussions of, like, which one of them is potentially the most accurate, but I do think it's very possible that it could have been overhunted by humans.
Right there.
So, that would be sad.
Yeah, nice work.
We also have, Moore's cat right here in the, in this sort of, early... I thought it was more, in the middle of the desert, but I guess I'm sort of towards the top end, the way the map's laid out.
Amazing. Great moves back there.
I see the enemy.
When it comes to dire wolves, or at least large, monstrous wolf, monsters in fantasy... Monstrous wolf monsters, yeah, there's redundancy for you.
There they are.
I finally get to mention one of the most influential, one of the most influential writers when it comes to the enduring legacy of various fantasy monsters, J.R.R. Tolkien. Come on down. I am surprised I haven't had to mention him so far. So, J.R.R. Tolkien created the wargs in The Hobbit. They are large, deadly, and typically very evil wolves ridden by orcs and goblins. An interesting thing about the wargs is that in The Hobbit, wargs could actually speak. Tolkien removed this from Lord of the Rings, because I suppose the implications of... Why is that thing not even trying to run from me? That's very weird. I suppose the implications of wargs being sapient was a little bit awkward in the long term. So ultimately I am glad that he decided against wargs being able to speak, but I kind of chalk that up to the sort of early installment weirdness, to use TV tropes lingo, of The Hobbit. The Hobbit was very much written as a children's fairy tale, and so, like, all the animals talk there. The spiders talk. Even, and the trolls even have a talking purse in The Hobbit. It's extremely bizarre. I believe it's, like Bilbo tries to pickpocket them, only for their purse to start talking and alert the trolls.
Yeah, who are you?
And then that's never mentioned again. So yeah, The Hobbit, very much more of a whimsical children's tale. than the more serious fantasy epic of Lord of the Rings, so I chalk up a lot of differences to those aspects of it. Now, okay, be careful right now. Those are the last set of wolves marked on the map. Once you kill them, the boss will immediately fight you. So make sure that you are ready.
Nice, look at that.
And by ready, I mean probably unequipped Seeker because the boss has fire. So yeah, let's make sure that we don't automatically lock onto them. I'm getting better about using the lock-on feature to do a charged attack into the enemies because that's usually, yeah, the way that you want to handle things on the field. Seems like there are a couple of stragglers in this pack of hundo. Tolkien probably got his idea for wargs from Norse mythology, particularly Fenrir, the wolf that is said to be a big part of Ragnarok.
Victory is ours.
There they are.
And the name warg comes from some words in those languages that were used to refer to monstrous varieties of wolves. Tolkien seemed to be kind of punning on etymology that of a word that originally meant wolf and eventually got used to mean like a vagrant or a criminal potentially. Tolkien was a linguist, so I wouldn't put it past him to make some kind of wordplay on ancient Norse in that way. Okay, now would be a good time to use the cat save. Mage is also dangerous here because the boss has a lot of pierce attacks. We don't have any archetypes that resist pierce right now, so I'm going to go for Brawler because the boss is also weak to strike. I'm going to need to pay for Blizz on Hulkenberg, but I think I will take that. Oh, there actually is a whole part of this desert that I haven't been to. I say desert, and it's more like just a big open circular field. Yeah, like, this game is no Xenoblade or, like, open world game. You're not going to be, exploring the areas between the cities. It's more focused on the smaller dungeons and the story and character interactions. And the battle system itself. Like, it's still a great RPG, it's just, it focuses on different things to some other fantasy RPGs in the market. Okay, I do have the superior rusted armor, good. I was just checking my guidebook to see if, I'd gotten everything in this area that was notable. So yeah, everything just froze. And now, it's Manticore time! Unfortunately, we can't just make this one nice just by taking a thorn out of its paw like Fluttershy does in My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. I've referenced that weirdly a lot lately. But that moment is actually taken directly from mythology. I mean, it was a lion in the original myth that was done with, but still.
And focused.
Get ready.
Yes, this is no mere wild dog. It's actually a wild cat, but it's also part scorpion. So, hi there, man-eater Manjula.
Let's stop him cold.
We know it's weak to ice and resistant to fire. Yeah, it's saying the flames only fuel it would make you think that, that it would drain fire, but I don't believe the drain affinity is even in this game. Repel is, though. But it is also weak to strike. And for that, well, I mean, I guess we can at least test the weakness to strike now. Okay, there we go. That is definitely a weakness to strike.
Time for some close comp.
So, I'm getting the 10% attack boost from the warrior skill that I inherited onto Will's Brawler. And now Hulkenberg will go for this, and we've already got it to almost half health, because, yeah, knowing its weakness and going all in on Brawlers is kind of... Am I going to be able to kill this thing before it even gets a chance to attack? I don't think so. I'll come kind of close, though. I do need to be a little careful here, though, because we're looking a little hurt on Will and Stroll, and I don't have my healing inherited to Hulkenberg right now, because I only have one inheritance slot on Knight. Suppose I can use a Fairy Dust, though. Just to give me a little bit of a buffer. Okay, hello there, what are you going to do to me? Warcry. Yeah, this is the mainline SMT version of Warcry, the one that lowers your attack and defense. I feel like Warcry did something else in some other games. I know they kind of change up the effects of some of the enemy, like, debuffing skills. Some of them, like, sometimes debuff attack by 2 stages, but this is -1 attack, -1 defense, I think. And yeah, I kind of wrecked that. Thank you, Strength Build Will.
I'll strive for greater heights.
You're gonna have even more of a Strength build now. But yeah, but as this part is gonna be mostly about the story, I feel like it's kind of fine to just, you know, deal with this thing quickly.
However,
The fact that you're forced to do this after the Grand Cathedral does make it a little easier, but I made it even easier by not doing it after Belega Corridor. Really, you're supposed to do Belega Corridor after the Grand Cathedral. So the fact that I'm doing this after having done both, yeah, I am a bit stronger than I don't know, like I wouldn't say that you'd normally be for
What
this.
do you think?
However,
Say,
I don't want to head back to the entrance because speaking of the Metaphor official guidebook, it actually told me something about this game that I never knew before and never would have even thought to know. And hopefully, I'm going to be showing you guys some this new information as well. What you want to do here is
right there.
punch a crow, yep, after failing a few times. You want to go to Academia via the cat and reset the area after defeating the Manticore. Oh, that's just a worm. Right. So, there should be something new in this area. Ah, I can see it over the horizon. That thing right there.
You got this.
It's listed as unknown. It's actually about level 40 or so? And do I really, it's possible to stun in the field, apparently? It's just kind of running around right now.
There they are.
So we got the stun here. But you might notice that taking a percentage of its health off took like 1,400? And if I try and attack it, we barely do anything. So, we're gonna make use of that stun to run away. And not get killed by it there. So, yeah. That thing is a Cocosardos, or the Metaphor world's equivalent of a cockatrice. It is insanely strong, and even though you maybe might be able to beat it at this point, it is incredibly difficult. It will take a very long time. You'll probably use up a lot of items, and it's overall just not worth it. So, that's actually a good place to talk about the fact that Metaphor does have level scaling. But the level scaling is really interesting. When you are 4 or more levels below something, which is actually, I believe, the point where the enemy starts to be red on the,
Right?
in face side, you will start having a negative multiplier to your damage. However, this only applies to normal enemies. Against bosses, there is positive damage scaling if your level is higher than that of the boss, but you will never have less than a 1 times multiplier against a boss, even if you are like over 16 levels lower than them. And I do think this is a very interesting game design choice. So normal enemies can be nearly impossible to defeat if you're lower level than them, but bosses, which most of them are forced fights, it kind of enables you to do a low level run, because you will never have any less than a 1 times damage multiplier, even if you're under leveled. It is very interesting, because I do feel like a lot of the time, like, people do like, and I wonder if Atlas is aware of this, people do like doing low level runs
The disaster was averted.
of Atlas games.
Right then, today's Fortin's big announcement.
I do wonder if I'm actually going to be able to turn in the Manticore quest. And one of the biggest obstacles to low level runs is getting like damage scaling against bosses and just only being able to do scratch damage to them. One thing I will say though is, I forget if you are forced straight into cutscenes today, or if you have a chance to go to town, because, I need to drop off this request at the recruitment center. It does not expire, and we will be coming back to Grand Trad at some point, so I'm not worried about losing this quest forever, and the reward is just some money and extra courage.
Wonder what he's planning. I guess the church has to have some reaction to all that stuff the king said.
Whatever it is, Luis won't be able to just ignore it. This might be a day that goes down in history.
Ladies and gents, lend me your ears.
Oh, you have all of my ears, battling always. That sounds like Battlin's like my husband or something. No, I don't mean that. I just mean that Battlin's an amazing character.
Sanctifex Forden has spoken. The giant face in the sky, the massive rocks appearing throughout the land, and the mysterious voice claiming to be the past king. The Sanctist Church has officially recognized these happenings as the will of His Royal Majesty.
And that means all of you can now believe them to be true, because you are only allowed to accept the things the Sanctist Church has verified.
So it really is His Majesty? And so, as His Majesty has decreed, whoever has gained the greatest trust of the people by the day of decision shall be our new king. This is a historic moment, good citizens. It's revolutionary. It's unprecedented. No matter who you are, you can take the throne!
Anyone?
Wait, that includes Captain Klinger. Please no.
Even me? If, and this is a big if, you are the person that all our people trust most in their hearts.
Maybe you could be king yourself, eh? You're popular enough.
Me? In charge? Well, that's the last thing this country needs. Right, let's review what we know, shall we?
I don't know, you'd probably be better than either Luis or Forden, but that's not a high bar.
First, the new faces that have appeared on the rock. It shows us who's foremost in the running. We've worked out that much. The top 3 of the lot are also shown in the sky. Suppose that way you can see their inspiring faces anytime, anywhere.
Hold on. How's us common folk supposed to stand a chance against all these upper crusters?
Say you do become popular. With your face clear for all to see, surely that'd make you a prime target for assassination.
That comment about the common folk not standing a chance does remind me about America's election system, in the sense that, like, anyone can run for president, technically, but you have to be really, really, really rich to run a successful campaign.
Not quite, friend. Not quite. A valid concern, but one His Majesty prepared for. Popular aspirants, at least those who make it onto the rock, are protected by royal magic. Assassinations off the table.
And that was what cost us Grius.
Magic chains will spring to life and bind anyone who tries. I saw it happen with my own eyes to Count Luis's sorry assailant.
So, literally anyone could be king? Even a pauper? Or a slave? Or a criminal?
Hold on. You mean to say we might not be ruled by Clamar? What does that mean for us?
Right, I've said my piece. You know all I know. Now go forth, ladies and gents, and spread the word. Whether you're from our fair capital or the middle of nowhere, the crown's within your grasp. Anyone in the land could be our next king.
I heard the announcement. The church has chosen to recognize this face's words as crown sent, and shall abide by them.
They conceded that one quickly. Though I suppose it's a hard thing to deny, what with the royal palace hanging up there in the clouds.
Had they rushed a coronation for His Eminence Forden, it would have dashed any hope of reinstating His Highness. A small comfort.
I can tell from your face there's some bad news too.
Do you recall those chains that froze Alsace in place? It seems that too was part of His Majesty's magic.
Yeah, we all know this from seeing the cutscenes, but this is the first this group is hearing of it.
Plainly, any candidates of sufficient favor cannot be deposed by force.
Is that a problem?
Luis is second in the standings. Any strikes against him would be likewise disrupted. I will still seek to find him. Yet, even should we stand before the man himself, we could not kill him.
No! If we can't kill him, then how do we break the curse?
What the hell was the king thinking? Grius was trying to save his son. He died for it.
Even so, without this magic, no aspirant would be safe from assassination, leaving Luis to dominate through sheer martial strength.
Yeah, it is true. Like, nothing would stop anyone from just killing every other possible candidate for the throne and winning by default. Or as I like to call it, as a Fire Emblem fan, pulling an Ashnod, because that's basically what he did.
We appear to be at an impasse.
Everyone, have you seen Maria?
Did something happen?
I checked her room and she isn't there. She wouldn't just leave without telling anyone. I couldn't deal with losing both of them.
I'll go look for her.
You will? Thank you. When I think of what might happen to her...
If she left her room on her own, she must have had some reason.
Let's go search for her. If we head into town, we might find some clues.
Where?
You're kidding.
Okay, so we are officially back in town, and we can triangle Gallica. But what that means is we'll be able to turn in our request. Stairs north of Sunshade Road, the general store. Yeah, that looks like it's the direction of the Grand Cathedral.
Alright then.
What's it now?
Huh. That's actually some interesting lore info that you wouldn't get if you didn't just talk to NPCs during this one, because this is a very kind of specific point in the story where, let's just say that after things that happen soon, the NPCs of Grand Trad are going to be changing their dialogue a lot. Yeah, let's just back away slowly from you. We can still access the shops now. So I suppose for that reason we can just sell a couple of the things we got from our desert trek. Oh, and apparize the superior rusted armor. I think I already had some silver mail. Oh, that's a better abacus than usual for merchant. Not bad, since I haven't really found many good weapons for that in stores. Sometimes it is useful to go for those, appraisable weapons.
Hey!
That half-blood, yeah. Well, I guess for an activist, you're not particularly good at being one. So yeah, so she's heading in the direction of the Grand Cathedral. I do like those little, you know, macula triangles swirling around the lamp. Yeah, already people are kind of just, you know, going on about what they think should happen in politics. Totally not like reality at all. But now, yeah, I'm gonna turn this in here. Like, wait, you really managed to kill that thing? Yeah, maybe this guy's another of Captain Klinger's men who just intended for us to die against the Manticore, but then they're like, ah, damn it.
We did it.
But yeah, we now turn this in and get some more courage. And a little bit more money.
Alright.
Now, theoretically speaking, you get a bigger benefit from bounties if you... oh yeah, we actually do get a bit of slight increase to our popularity from doing things like that. Which really, all that does is gives you more mag from the Royal Rock. But more mag is always nice to have. But yeah, technically speaking, you get a better reward from bounties if you wait until after getting to a certain rank in Katharina's Bond to turn them in, but I don't want a quest lingering on my undone quest list. Apparently, the previous king would not have particularly liked Forden taking the throne. Interesting. Yeah, we just gotta have to go back in and find her. I'm impressed he managed to get through all this rubble.
Huh?
Because this is the Grand
Why?
Cathedral entirely post-giant human attack.
Everyone was worried about you.
Sorry. Papa hasn't come home. And I always come here whenever I'm feeling lonely. One time he came here to get me. I remember because he called my name. But I pray, and he still doesn't come back. Maybe because the cathedral's broken?
Maria.
Miss Fabienne says Papa can't come home anymore. But I know Papa's gone away. He's gone somewhere I'll never see him again. Hasn't he? It's going to be so lonely. The loneliest it's ever been. But I have to be strong, don't I? But if it gets any lonelier, I don't know if I can do it.
I'm sorry. I promised we'd all come back together.
Why does everyone always leave? Mum was sick. The king and prince are gone. And now Papa? Why does everyone always leave?
Suppose that's our first indication of what happened to her birth mother.
Is it my fault? I really did my best to be a good girl, but...
That's not why.
He's right, Maria. It's not your fault at all.
Listen to me, all right? Your father, he was fighting a very bad man. We were with him, but we couldn't protect him. I'm sorry.
I remember Papa saying something like that. He said, a really bad man might be our king. Is that part of it?
It'll work out somehow. I'm sure of it.
I hope the next king is as nice as you. Then maybe things won't always be so sad.
I think I understand the king's intentions now. Maybe this is the sort of tragedy he was trying to end. Maybe he wanted a world where the crown goes to one who acts like a king ought to. Not whoever's willing to spill the most blood to do it.
You may be right. But much as we wish it, this is not a fight that might be ended through words alone.
Even so, we have to try.
Maria, you're safe. Oh, you had me worried sick.
I'm sorry for leaving on my own.
No, it's all right.
Miss Fabienne, I'm hungry.
Maria. Yes, that's right. Let's all sit down for some supper together. Thank you for finding her.
It looks like she's worked things out.
She's a strong girl.
But we've more troubles ahead. How now do we resolve this curse upon His Highness?
If Luis is the curse's caster, we've got to kill him to dispel it. So how do we do that if he's shielded by the king himself?
I wish I could report back, but the prince is still asleep, and we're losing time. I don't think going back to the village is an option.
We cannot lose faith yet. There must be some further course we can pursue.
Well, there's the church's announcement. I expect they're trying to stop a wave of rival candidates from flooding the standings. I doubt the church would accept this popularity contest if they didn't already have a plan to game it.
True enough. I can only wonder at their aims. For today, we should content ourselves with rest and recovery.
Sorry, did I wake you? Laying here, I always end up caught in my own thoughts. Grius and Maria. The prince. Just thinking in circles again. Not good, is it?
Let's think about it together.
Keeping me company, are you? You really are a strange one. My kind of strange, if I'm honest. That book, is that the novel you're always carrying around? Feels like months ago now that I spotted you buried in it on the carriage ride to the fort.
Wanna read it?
If you don't mind, since we've finally some room to breathe. Oh, interesting. It's written through the lens of a fictional land. This bit's about the Utopia's security. In this world, there is no blood-stained contest for sovereignty. The people choose their sovereign from among themselves. One cannot put a sovereign to the sword to seize power. Such an act would be met with scorn and judged as murder. Taking power or wealth by force is seen as the most shameful of transgressions. Couldn't be further from reality, could it? We've a Kingslayer on the brink of seizing the throne right now. And this idea of competing for public support. Here it sounds so commonplace, but the idea's thrown us all into chaos. Interesting. Perhaps I'm overthinking, but it sounds almost like the aim of the king's magic. You suppose there's some common inspiration?
Well, Moore did say that the king was the one who sent him into exile within the royal library. So the king was obviously in contact with Moore, and Moore was the one who wrote this novel, so it's definitely likely the king read it, because yeah, this sounds way too similar to the king's magic to be any kind of coincidence.
Still, I don't imagine this would turn out well in the real world. In public opinion, tribal perspective always divides us.
I love how Stroll has no idea how right he is.
Besides, does a decision made by the people guarantee it's right? Tribal squabbles aren't always political. Take us Clamars, for example. It can be hard for us to see outside the bubble of our own worldview.
So this reminds me of how the directors of this game have stated that each one of the tribes is meant to be inspired by a certain kind of way of life, rather than any kind of stereotypes of classic fantasy races.
We're the majority, and the tribe of the royal bloodline besides. That privilege can make us insensitive.
I can see certain real-world analogues here.
A problem with no easy solution, I fear. Lofty words. I can hardly come to terms with my own ideals. Still, the discussions helped clear my head a little. Thank you. I've been so fixated on killing Luis, but maybe we could look into whether that's really the only way to lift the curse. Sleep should come easier now. I think I'll give it another chance. Wait, how long have you been asleep?
Next time, plot happens all over the place.